Hey y'all, how are you doing? I'm great. Thank you so much for asking. It's me, Kim, and I'm back for another video, another live video. Love it so much. All right, let's go ahead and clear some things up. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, you saw a week ago, a few days ago, I don't know. Time is an infinite circle. I got into a little back and forth. So I decided that I would come on here and clear it up. All right, let's go. I'm so proud of this video. Honestly, I am so proud of it. I've gotten so much great feedback on it. I've watched it myself so many times because I'm like, oh my God, Kim, you wrote the shit out of that video. I was really careful about constructing my argument because I knew that it was going to elicit a very strong response. And it has. And so I wanted to take some time to work through some of the responses to that video. I feel like at almost 33 years old, something is shifting. Like something is, I'm not really woo woo. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm vaguely spiritual, but I'm not like into the astrology stuff or whatever. But I truly feel like my life is turning in a different direction, and so is my career. So I've decided to really reevaluate the way that I deal with public critiques and skirmishes online. I am absolutely not going to be getting into any nasty back and forths with Black women on the internet, not going forward. Months ago, I did this live about Megan Thee Stallion and that thought shit video. And I said some slick shit, right? And one of the comments under it was like, I just don't understand how Black women who claim to be for Black women who just have different opinions can be so nasty to each other. And I took a step back and I was like, you know what? She's right, right? Like all this fussing is unseemly and unproductive. So I don't want to amplify bad faith actors. But if I completely refuse to engage with critiques that come from people who do not fuck with me at all, I am potentially missing opportunities to be and do better, right? I care about rigor. That is the goal here. So, personal dislike for me does not mean that the critiques are completely wrong. Criticism, I said this on IG the other day, critique is an opportunity to refine ideas. Like, critique is a gift. So, I have been spending more time thinking through where other people are coming from. Where are their arguments originating from? Where's the foundation so that I can get better? And so, as I'm spending more time working through ideas, I mean, really watching videos and going into message boards and going through tweets, I often find that we're not that far apart, right? Like our ideas fundamentally are like the same, but then there's just a piece in there that's a deal breaker for me, right? It's like 85%, 85% same. But then it's that 15% where I'm like, oh, I can't, right? And actually, that's just harmful. But the other 85, I'm completely down for. And so I should not have a problem articulating the deal breaker. In fact, it's my job to articulate what the deal breaker is. Okay. And so I actually love to walk through my thought processes. And if I'm wrong, so be it. Finally, I'm not doing this to be fake Michelle Obama, right? I'm not trying to fly above. Okay. You know what? Like, I personally feel much better laying my ideas out in an orderly manner, in a rigorous manner, than going back and forth, getting mad in comments, right? Like, I like to do it this way because also I can materially benefit from this way. Okay. So let's not. So you don't have to respond like, Kim, you don't have to, Kim, leave it alone. I know. right? But this is my job and I get paid for it. All right. So the first thing that I want to do is respond to a lie. No, I did not just start feminizing myself. You know, the great thing about living online as long as I have is my receipts are extremely long. So, look, let's make it bigger. 24-year-old Kimberly. This is September 2013. 24-year-old Kimberly was founder of 3-year-old Black feminist website For Harriet. I was dressed like this, talking that Black feminist shit. This is actually at my corporate job. I worked at Farmers Insurance for 6 months, and every day I would go into the bathroom and take a outfit selfie. Now, that's real 2013. It's platform pumps, peplum dress, little tied up shawl. I had a blonde highlight. You couldn't tell me shit with the blonde highlights. Nails, matching dress. Okay, pearls. Kimberly. All right. This is also 2013. That's also Kimberly, founder of 3-year-old Black feminist website For Harriet. She was still talking that feminist shit, giving you Stepford wife realness, right? Demure, dainty, fuck the patriarchy. That was the shit that I was on, okay? I always just liked that look. Cute dress. This is Kimberly, October 2013. Now, this is actually the day that I ever gave my first keynote speech at Cornell about digital Black feminism and For Harriet. And I was dressed like this. And I was cold as fuck. So, I had to layer up a little more. But man, I missed those shoes. Oh, I threw away those shoes. Those shoes are so cute. Okay. In fact, let me go ahead and get a collage of all my back in the day selfies. Wow. Oh my gosh. There's a pair of shoes in there. Oh, so good. Okay. So, what do you notice about little baby Kim's style? How would you describe her aesthetic? All right. Moving on. This is 32-year-old Kimberly, me, founder of 11-year-olds multi-platform Black feminist digital community For Harriet, still talking that Black feminist shit. In fact, let me indulge y'all in some vanity videos that I've taken recently. Yeah, Kim. So good. Ooh, rich auntie giving it to you. Ugh, love it. More. Fuck the patriarchy. Men are trash. Still. All right. So, guess this is about vanity, right? This is about vanity, but I am also making a point here. For a year, I've tried to ignore the accusation that has come from a certain side of the internet that goes a little something like, Kim is secretly watching so-and-so's videos about how to be more feminine, and that's why she woke up one day and decided to straighten her hair and wear makeup and wear dresses and heels. Because I knew that the evidence that is so public is so easily accessible that there is no way, just by casually scrolling my Instagram, there's no way that could stick, right? Because it's just so obviously not true. But here we are a year later. And if that accusation was just about aesthetics, it really wouldn't be a big deal. I wouldn't really have to talk about it or go through it. But the accusation is about integrity. So we've cleared it up. When I was trying to grow this YouTube channel, right? When I made the transition from For Harriet being a blog to For Harriet being a YouTube channel, I did not care about how I came on here. It didn't matter. Didn't matter to me. I, was still putting on makeup, even though I would tell you, I've gotten so much better at doing my makeup, but that's 10,000 hours, okay? Now, this is just me putting in the time, okay, to refine the skills. But it wasn't like, oh, let's make this a dress up moment, because my offline life was full of dress up moments. You know, I knew that my ideas were good, the writing was good, the videos were going to be good, and the audience was telling me that the ideas, the writing, and the videos were good. And I was making just a lot more content, you know? And so I did that. But I was still, even when I was coming on here, dressed down, basically, I was still doing this on Facebook. I mean, and Instagram, giving you a moment. Oh, this is just me being a hoe. Okay. Still. Oh, this is a good outfit, you guys. Oh, I missed that skirt. I can't fit into that skirt no more. Oh my gosh. You see, as I got older, my style got sexier. As I got older, right, you like gain a little weight, and you just get into your like ba 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 boom. Like, that was me. I mean, it's still kind of me, actually. I still like a sexy silhouette. All right. So, do I have one more? Maybe I do. This is my Solange moment. This was after A Seat at the Table came out, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be Solange in the photo shoot. That's me. Oh, and another collage. I love a collage, right? I know that this is overkill. Actually, let's go back to the collage, because the collage is doing some stuff over there. All right. That was overkill, but I couldn't decide which photos to use. It's not a secret. I've given talks dressed like that. Every single talk I've given dressed up like that. I've had For Harriet events dressed up like that. I've met so many just like For Harriet fans and supporters and haters, detractors dressed like that. Side note, this is also, I'm almost hesitant to even address this, but this is also why I've never felt compelled to respond to the Kimberly is an ugly feminist who can't get a man, and that's why she hates the patriarchy, and that's why she hates Black men. Okay. First of all, getting a man is not an accomplishment. It's not. I wish people who dislike me would think more of themselves than to lead with that. But it's just nonsensical and counterproductive for me to try to use desirability to validate arguments that I know are good, that I know are solid. So I don't, right? I've actually loved having separation between YouTube Kim and Instagram Kim, that's like vanity and like self promo, and Twitter Kim, that's just messiness and hot takes, and Facebook Kim, that has to pretend to not be so scandalous because that's where all my family is. In fact, there are literal memes about that, right? Right? That's the Dolly Parton challenge, right? We're different things in different spaces. Same person, different parts. But now, how do we get to 2021? Now I'm making way less content, just way more comfortable overall, way more resources. So yeah, I can maintain straight hair again. In every video, I can say, oh, let's make this a dress up moment. If I'm making one video every 2 weeks or one video in a month, it can be a moment, because we're still in a pandemic. I don't get moments, right? Let's make it a blockbuster night. I can say that now. And so I do. But as you can see here, right, like dispositionally, foundationally, aesthetically, 32-year-old Kim is not actually that much different from 24-year-old Kim. I'm executing better. Okay, the blending is better. The clothes are cuter. I also have to say, I'm in this moment right there, but like, don't get used to it. I could next week just decide, oh, I don't want to do makeup. I don't want to wear dresses. Like, let's get back to basics. It's really just how I feel. And I feel like even in my latest video, I wasn't 100% happy with the aesthetic in the luxury video, but I was like, I'm not putting no more effort into getting cute. We got to record this fucking video. Okay, it's it. So you might ask, Kimberly, why is this coming up again? Good question. It's Kimberly and the gender cops. There's a group of people, I'm going to call them gender cops, who are very upset about my last video, but honestly, they're just upset about my existence. They're upset that I'm a feminist. They're upset that I'm outspoken. They are upset that I criticize the beauty ideal and our aesthetic ideals. But I'll say, one of the reasons why I'm so fascinated and why I'm going to write a book about beauty and aesthetics coming 2023, inshallah, is because I'm into it, right? I'm into how we participate, the consequences of our participation, the harms of it. That's what drew me to talking about beauty and style and norms and ideals. So they're really mad about this video, right? The thing is, they haven't watched it. Now we can go over here. This says the fact that people expect Black women to always be selfless and on the front lines is ridiculous. These SJWs are mad that their rhetoric is running out of time. Black women want to relax, look pretty, and live well, and they literally hate that for us. It's giving bitterness and jealousy. Now, this is very obviously the opposite of the message in that video. I am repeatedly saying Black women deserve rest. We deserve rest. We shouldn't have to do all this work. Are you able to take care of yourself? Make sure that you can take care of yourself repeatedly in that video. The argument is that we mistake conspicuous consumption for self-care. And this bitterness and jealousy shit comes up a lot. And I want to say, as humbly as possible, how can I be jealous of a lifestyle that I live? Explain it to me quickly. All right, let's move on. Next. This one is Uncle Kimberly. That's their nickname for me. Also said this: how can we deserve more than luxury right now when she already said that we don't deserve femininity because we're Black? Having access to luxury is what is bringing Black women back into natural femininity. Uncle Kim really wants the SJW era back. So the tweet that she has screenshotted here, I assume it's a she, faceless account. I said, you're never going to get what white women have because you are Black. Your Blackness is the obstacle. It's not your clothes or your hair or Black men. As long as you are Black, you cannot embody idealized femininity. It was made to keep you out. Okay, so there's a couple of interesting things here. So one, I think we should start by defining luxury so that we can all be on the same page, because I think that a part of this is we're just talking past each other. Luxury has a really standard economic definition. Luxury describes things that are non-necessities. They serve as status symbols. And the idea is that luxury items and luxury services are scarce, and also that their value is dependent on availability and income. Now, I'll say I did mess up in that video because I said leisure is luxury, and that plays into the luxury is whatever you define it as idea, and that's not true, right? I should have worded that more carefully. But we do have to differentiate things that are indulgences from things that are luxuries. Luxury requires a limited amount, right? Luxury requires scarcity. All right. So the first thing that tweeter said is that having access to luxury is what is bringing Black women into femininity, which is such a curious idea to me. And I think that this comment that somebody left gets to the heart of that ideology. Let's make it even a little bit bigger here. They wrote, I've noticed personally that Black women in luxury for a lot of women is more about the specific type of femininity that some Black women have been denied, the pure, elegant, old money aesthetic, usually only designated for white women. For example, I've seen phrases like unapologetically girly without the fear of being accused of trying to be white. And then the bow of success and materialism on top is additional defense of that femininity. Like, I live like this and I have visible wealth. So, what power do you have over me? It's a shallow type of self worth that satisfies the inner child, but doesn't address the self image issues and classism that come along with it. With this in mind, I think the homogeny of what Black women's luxury means makes a lot of sense. It's a reproduction of white standards in Black skin. It's empowering in the way it's subversive visually, but shallow in its content in terms of depth and nuance. I think that really hits on a lot of this, right? So let's take a minute to work through it. Some people are inherently what we call feminine, right? And lowercase femininity doesn't have a gender, but they are not able to perform capital F femininity, right? So we're saying just like the natural way that you move through the world, lowercase femininity, versus the way you're able to perform capital F femininity, right? And capital F femininity has to be bought, policed, and gatekept. And yes, the inability to perform it is distressing. Absolutely. When you know that you are something and that's what you're drawn to, but you don't have access to it. Yes, that is an absolutely awful feeling. And that's why I say that these conversations fundamentally reflect gendered class anxiety, because you can't perform capital F femininity with no money. It's a club and you got to pay the cover charge. So if you can't get your nails done, if you can't get your hair done, if you can't wear the right clothes, you're out. And if you can't pay with time and emotional energy, you're out. And even if you have all of those things, if other people refuse to recognize your femininity, you're out. But if we're buying into that ideal, if that is what we're propping up, who disproportionately loses? Who is disproportionately kept outside of those gates? Who will keep losing despite their best efforts? So I do agree with the idea that the financial stability allows you to be softer, for sure. It allows you to take better care of yourself. It allows you to choose your environment. For example, one of the reasons why I can't live on the East Coast is because every time I have visited New York, no matter how much money I have, I turn into a strong Black woman. New York is a hard place to live. Okay. I'm like, how are y'all making it? So that's why I'm putting effort on rest. So I vehemently disagree that it is luxury that is bringing Black women into their natural femininity. Luxury is bringing Black women into consumerism and materialism. And it's actually harmful to buy into the idea that femininity requires conspicuous consumption. So we have to come up with some new ideas that serve our best interest, which that doesn't. So here's a question. Here's what I was thinking of. Can low income and poor women be feminine? Is femininity only for rich women? And I know wherever you fall on this side, like, it's like you feel like, oh, obviously yes or obviously no. But I think that there's some layers to this that need to be unpacked and worked through. That's a whole nother video. In fact, I actually want to have a patrons and members open community dialogue about this, because I think that there's some layers here that need to be deconstructed. I don't have time to do that in this video. I don't have time to do it. But for sure, because that is the messaging that we're getting. Okay. So all of this is to say, I get where the luxury and the femininity girls are coming from. I get it. I've thought through it deeply. We're working through the same math problems, right? Like we're trying to solve the same equations. We're just coming up with different answers. The solutions are different. All right, let's move on. Oh, this is, oh, somebody sent this to me. Okay. Of course, Black women can be feminine. So that tweet that whoever that was reposted was one of like 4 or 5 tweets in a thread, and it just keeps popping up, right? Like no context, just vibes, right? Vibes and willful misinterpretations. And so that tweet did not say Black women don't deserve femininity. That tweet did not say Black women can't be feminine. That tweet was me, and I will take responsibility for this, using a shorthand and not defining terms. And so when you do that, it's easy for really complex conversations to get fucked up. So idealized femininity is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that tweet. So I just want to say here, I've said this other places, I don't know if I've said it here. Of course, Black women can be feminine. But I am critiquing the kind of narrowly bounded femininity that I see some Black women digging their heels into. Can your femininity exist without violence? Is it a femininity that does not require the reproduction of classism, anti-Blackness, homophobia, fat phobia, transphobia? I see a lot of real nasty stuff floating around in these conversations. And a common critique of me is that by discussing the concerning relationship to the growing Black femininity discourse and the construction of ideal feminine white womanhood, that I am the one obsessed with white womanhood, that I am saying that femininity is only for white women. I'm asking y'all to consider, right? This repulsion that I see so often directed in those circles toward women who are poor, fat, ghetto, masculine, gay, trans. Is that ancestral? Because it feels like y'all are telling me and everyone else that those ideals are fundamentally African. And I'm not talking about fertility rituals. Somebody brought that up in a tweet to me. I'm talking about the incessant denigration of people who are broke, ugly, ratchet, fat. If you're telling me that comes straight from the continent without no mediation, I'm going to have to disagree with you. Now, let me say this. If I'm wrong, if there's books I'm not reading, if there are resources that I have not tapped into, let me know, right? Let me know who I should be reading and listening to. Because from my vantage point, from my reading, from my listening, that stuff don't come from us. And I do see a lot of references to what white women do and what white women have in the luxury and femininity conversation. And so I don't believe that it is ever useful when we're talking about Black womanhood to ever prop up the space, the cultural space, the societal space that white women occupy as the ideal, because white women are able to do that because of whiteness. Also, white womanhood, capital W, is responsible for so much destruction in the world. So much destruction, not only to people outside of themselves, to each other. Do y'all wash their nose, right? As somebody from Oklahoma and lives in Texas, do y'all watch the news? Abortion is about to be done where I live. That stuff is done in protection of white womanhood. So, anyways, I understand that even if I say this, right, a lot of people sincerely believe that it is their right to be violent. But my position is that we have to, for our own good, reject the role of gender cop. Refuse to admonish other Black women for not chasing or embodying your feminine ideal. You simply can't. You simply can't be living your best life if you're spending all this time trying to police other Black women. So I literally have no problem with the Black woman saying that they don't want to take on all the labor in their families, in their communities, that they want to be able to be soft and vulnerable and loved and cared for. That's why I became a feminist. You know? Like, this is what like really fucks me up because I'm just like, that's why I'm here. Black feminists have been saying this for a long time. That is not my problem. It's the real narrow femininity road that gets people fucked up. But if you can walk down that road and not be a bigot, I'm cool. That has nothing to do with me. Right? But also, some Black women are masculine. Not all Black women are soft. Some Black women are activists and organizers. They feel like that is their purpose and they're doing great work. They too deserve care and support and love and rest. I do not believe that women should have to earn their right to care. Black women don't have to earn dignity by dressing up a certain way or behaving a certain way. Now, people say often, right, that like it's not about anti-Blackness, it's not about white supremacy, it's not about what white women do, and it's hard for me to really accept that because people invoke anti-Blackness against me all the time. People dip deep into their anti-Blackness bag against me, right? So it's the Uncle Kimberly shit. It's the SJW shit. People call me masculine all the time. People under the last video were like, y'all just angry. And I'm like, where in this video was I angry? Where is the anger in this video? Right? Like they're intentionally weaponizing misogynoir and anti-Blackness against me because they're trying to hurt me in the ways that the world hurts Black women. Now, excuse me for not really believing, right, that misogynoir is fundamentally your issue. You don't want to be the target. And that's fine. Right. But it's just wild to see people with pro-Black woman in their bios become enthusiastic vehicles for misogynoir. That's where I get fucked up. And so I am super into the Uncle Kimberly stuff right now. That's why I've decided to like reclaim it because it's data. It is helping me to prove my argument. Y'all are projecting anti-Black woman sentiment onto me. All right. So when I say that the idealized femininity that we're taught is supposed to be the pinnacle, right? That we're taught is supposed to be put on the pedestal, that stuff is made to keep Black women out. I think a really great illustration of that is somebody like a Michelle Obama. I just got dragged on Twitter over a Michelle Obama tweet recently. That's so funny, right? But anyways, Michelle Obama, mom in chief, thin, married, degreed, straight hair, dressed down, still the continual target of anti-Blackness, still compared to an ape, still dragged through the mud, still called a man. So when you claim that you're adopting all of these isms, right, these oppressions and bigotries in order to be treated better by society, I can say with enormous evidentiary support, like, that's only going to get you so far. But I'm not going to lie and say that it doesn't get you anywhere. There is social power, but perhaps not actual power, in being able to say, I'm one of the good ones. Those are ratchet bitches over there. But look at me. I know how to act. I know how to dress. I know how to speak. For sure. For sure. In fact, I say all the time, I benefit enormously from my adjacency to respectability. Yeah, that's just like the truth. But I personally find the viewpoint of I want what I want and I don't care who I have to hurt or step on to get what I want to be really repulsive, to be really disgusting. And I don't care who I see perpetuating it. I have no problem saying it's fucked up when Black women do it, because it is. But I get the aims. All right. So as we saw, right, I just want to say that we can and should do better. But I also can't get on board with the mechanism with which people say that we can and should do better. Because I do not care about corrective promotion. It doesn't make sense to me to say that whiteness, the white gaze, structural inequality have no bearing on your performance of femininity whatsoever, while leaning so heavily into the idea of corrective promotion. Okay, so if you haven't, like, these are like inside terms, like these are like, I need like a glossary. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, pop culture guru. The idea is that the image of Black women has been so tarnished historically and contemporarily that we have to go out of our way to reverse that by creating images of Black women occupying the highest stations of life. The comparison to white women is inherent there. So, of course, right, would corrective promotion even be necessary without white supremacy? No. You do have to be deeply attuned to white supremacist scripts to even know what you're correcting. If not for white folks and the construction of white womanhood, capital W, we wouldn't have to call it corrective promotion. You would just call it living. And I do believe that self-image is important. But these conversations are also about these conversations are not only about how we feel about ourselves, right? But also about raising our status collectively in society and who controls the levers of society. I see a lot of talk about, just playing the game. We're not going to be deconstructing things. We're not going to be tearing things down. Just go along with it. Who controls the game? And by the way, I've been thinking a lot about this, trying to like piece together arguments. I do hope that someone who is a proponent of the idea of corrective promotion is connecting it historically to the idea of the politics of respectability. So the corrective promotion stuff and the politics of respectability stuff are speaking directly to each other. This is a revival of the politics of respectability ethos that Black women in the early 20th century embraced and adopted. They were saying our dignity has been stripped from us. So it's important for our personal morale and our station in society to dress and behave like we deserve respect. And here, I'm going to do some slick shit and cite myself. Not really cite myself, but cite an interview that I did with preeminent scholar Evelyn Brooks Higginbotham, who is also a college professor of mine, who first theorized the concept of politics of respectability. And she says, Kim, this is in her interview transcript, Kim, Put yourself back in 1950 with the segregation signs. You have to go through the back door. There's lynching. There's everything from the outside society that's telling you you are inferior and you are not worthy of respect. You are not able to be disrespected. What someone like Nanny Helen Burroughs says, and she's the great champion of this, she says that you are not made in these contexts that are demeaning you. Your definition of yourself, the worth of who you are. Sorry, I don't have on glasses, so I can't really read. Your definition of yourself, the worth of who you are, isn't determined in these contexts of racial discrimination. If you believe that you are worthy of respect, and if you live a life that is worthy of respect, then nothing anybody else can say about you can define you. The politics of respectability, and this is the key thing about it, gives you a moral authority to say to the outside world, I am worthy of respect. You don't respect me, but I'm worthy of respect. You don't treat me like an equal person, but I know that I am an equal person. And because I'm an equal person, I'm going to fight for my rights. I'm going to demand equality. I'm not going to let you treat me like I am a second-class citizen. That's the way they interpreted this. Now, of course, the Black church women and the club women were more civic-minded. And this, the corrective promotion stuff is more lifestyle and aesthetics. But they're so similar in tone and verbiage. Both of these things are so political. So we see, because we're here in 2021, that the politics of respectability fell out of favor, right? Because people realized this is a lot, right? It's a lot to take on that burden. It's a lot to take on that burden and not get the reaction, the response, the change that you feel like taking on that burden is supposed to elicit. Like that's how we're here. All right. There's a lot of stress and people were saying this ain't working. And so for me, I say, instead of saying that we need to correct our image so that we can be treated better, why not say all women, the poor ones, the masculine ones, the trans ones, deserve to be treated with dignity. I do agree that Black women are offered a limited scope of representation. I've talked about this deeply, right? Like that's what that WAP and the Spectacle of Sexual Liberation video is about. We get served one thing. But when I am talking about the type of images that we deserve, going all the way to like rich luxury Black women getting on jets is also not it either, right? And the change that I desire is even a change in the way that poor women are depicted. It's not that we need to erase the representation of poor women, like pretend that poor Black women don't exist. Like the issue is that whenever poor Black women are depicted, they are depicted as being masculine and stripped of respect and stupid, hypersexualized. Even women who are poor and low income or just barely not poor or was poor yesterday, which is the majority of Black women in the United States, even they deserve dignified representation and portrayals. Right? Like that's where we diverge. Okay. All right, let's move on to the accusation that I am encouraging Black women to be on the front lines. I want to say real clearly, I'm not on the front lines. All right. This person wrote, I am so tired of her two-faced, flip-flopping ass. Uncle Kim is right. With that face, she's not attractive. I don't like to bring this up because we live in an anti-Black women society, but let's be real. She's a classic sabotager and very confused. She doesn't want to be the only one defending Black men on the front lines and online. So she's been leading thousands of Black women astray while low-key indulging in divestment, Black women's empowerment. That's what BWE stands for. Black femininity talking points and tips. It's giving sickness, because why would you harm others? All right. This is an article I wrote in 2014. It's called Why I Will Not March for Eric Garner. Back in 2014, I was 25, and no one with the kind of platform and access that I have was saying that shit. Nobody was saying that. I got so much shit for saying, I won't see you at the marches. Dragged, unfriended, death threats, essay threats. I'm not going to say it, but you know, worse threats. And now in 2021, people who dragged me talk so much shit. She is so crazy and it's selfish and this is diluted. This is the worst shit that I've ever read. In 2021, the people who dragged me have come around to saying, whoa, Kim, maybe you were right. Or some people have outright said, oh, you were right. Oh, I couldn't see it at the time, but oh, Kim, you were right. I get it. Years later, I have not been to a march, rally, protest, any of that shit for a cisgender heterosexual man in almost 10 years. I'm very public about it, very open about it. You won't see me there. Okay. Last summer, I moved to Dallas, right? And all of that shit was popping up last summer. And right down the street from where I was staying, people was marching past. And I was just, literally, I would be walking down the street and the protesters would march past. And I'd just be like, okay, good luck. It's not my work. So there are things about that article that I would change for sure. But the foundational ideas were right. I was right. And I am so proud of my 25-year-old self for saying, nope, not doing it. Things have to change. And I've had to defend it over and over again over these past 7 years. Every once in a while, an incel will bring it up. Is this you? Yes, it's me. This you? They try to hit me with a this you? Yes, it is. I care deeply about injustice. Injustice makes me angry. I support and amplify, support financially, support with my platform, support in words, the work of lots of Black, femme, queer, trans organizers and activists. I advocate for the issues that I believe in. I aim to be ethical. I want to do as little harm as possible. And how people are turning that into a negative is beyond me. That is a sickness. I feel like I'm doing the bare minimum. All right, let's move on. So we've already established that the she's feminizing herself thing is bullshit, right? But this person says, girl, when I found out she was doing the big old switcheroo and feminizing herself, I knew it was fucking game, because she was just too enslaved to all of a sudden wake up and be like, hey girls, time to swirl. She be trying me. I can't even watch her videos. I get so hyped. So never in my life have I said, hey girls, it's time to swirl. I'm, deeply in love with the Black man, as anybody who follows me know. But one thing I have completely changed my mind on is that Black men have too much power in the dating and marriage markets. From little baby Kim, 23, 24-year-old Kim, to 32-year-old Kim, y'all are right. Black men have too much power when it comes to heterosexual partnership, and they abuse that power 100%. And so years ago, I made this video after reading a book called Is Marriage for White People by a man named Ralph Richard Banks about how my mind had changed. But I am okay saying, this is a video from 2018. I am completely okay saying I hadn't seen the numbers. I was responding before I read that book, responding in a very just like reflexively reactionary way. Hadn't read the research. And so the girls who were early in the expand your dating pool conversation were absolutely right. That this is a mea culpa. My bad. All right. Now, if y'all can have that conversation, now, I'm with you. But can we have that conversation without calling Black men bully bags? Right? So that's where it goes left, right? Like, this is what I'm talking about, the divergences, right? Because I'll be with you. I'll be there, right? I'll be so close. And then we just take a little turn, right? Then we take a little turn. And I'm like, okay, well, this is where I have to get off. Right? And, shitting on Black male children, that's where I have to get off. Right? I'm not going, not the babies. Okay. Okay, let's move on. This is another comment. There are girls on Twitter saying that you're bitter because you don't fit the aesthetic. So a successful Black woman dressed beautifully doesn't fit the aesthetic? Now I'm wondering what this so-called aesthetic is. Now, this is where having done this for a long time really helps me. Because I recognize that the goalposts are always going to shift, okay? Like I mentioned in that video, if I was broke, people would say, well, she's just bitter because she broke. If I was single, people would say, oh, she's just bitter because she's lonely and single and can't get a man. She got money now, but she can't get a man. But I'm none of those things. But people are always looking for backdoor ways to call me ugly. So now is she just bitter because she don't fit the aesthetic? Okay. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Look, I know people don't like me. They think I'm masculine. They think my ideas are harmful. They think I'm unattractive. Fine. But please don't let your dislike for me lead you to say nonsense. But I will say that conversation has helped me think of another layer of nuance to this discussion about luxury that I kind of thought of, but I hadn't really fully explored. Okay. Your ideal luxury aesthetic has a lot to do with your social location. So I am certainly influenced by the prototypical Black girl luxury ideal images, right? But in my life, in my networks, that's not the luxury ideal that is predominant. That's not the luxury ideal that I am most often exposed to or pushed toward. If I were making up terms, I'd personally call what I encounter the most the talented 10th Black luxury ideal. And it's different. Okay. So I'd say that this ideal is most prevalent among high earning, educated, artsy, creative type, intelligentsia adjacent Black folks. And those are people for whom the prototypical Black girl luxury aesthetic is seen as tacky. They believe themselves to be above that. They think they're being more tasteful, but it's loud in a different way. Instead of Birkins, they're flaunting their Carrie James Marshall prints, right? Like instead of Birkins, they're flaunting their Carrie Mae Weems like art books, right? Or like rare books. Now, it's a delight in a different kind of class marker. So, I'm sorry. This sounds pretentious because it is, but really what I'm trying to get to is the absurdity and the incoherence of class performance. So I guess, there's something correct in the I do not fit the aesthetic, but not for the reasons they're insinuating, right? Because if I wanted to invest in the Ari Lennox bad bitch glow up, by the way, Ari looks so good. Did you see Ari at the Soul Train Awards? She looks so good. But if I wanted to perform femininity that way, I would just do it. I got money for a BBL, even though I got a fat ass. But that stuff actually would put me outside of the aspirational ideal for the circles that I run in. That's another whole other video. That's a whole other video we could get into. Maybe I'll write that down. Okay. Oh, but you know what? This is making me think of. Okay, so I am getting into art collecting because I need to stop buying depreciating assets. And I've always loved art when I was a kid. I thought I wanted to be I'm sorry, I'm such a sloucher. I've been slouching this whole video. Let me be here, shoulders back. But I'm getting into art collecting because I need to stop buying depreciating assets. And ever since I was a kid, I used to want to be an art dealer, but then I realized it's actually really hard to get into art dealing and you have to be broke for a long time and whatever. But also because I'm encountering a lot, ever since I moved to Dallas, I am encountering so many more Black art collectors. And that world is different. I went to an art fair recently, and when I was talking on IG, let me put this up, right? When I was talking, did I turn off the sound for this? This is my art collector. Right? Okay. My art collector aesthetic, right? Okay. So when I was talking about, go to the art fair to pick out a piece of artwork, a piece of fine art, people were like, okay, I see you got your art collector outfit on. You got your art collector. Oh, girl. Looking chic. Yes. I was dressing up as, a fancy art collecting Black woman. That was my drag for the day. That was my performance of class. For sure. So if I'm being self-critical, which, I will be, I'd say it's actually easier for me to criticize the Black girl luxury aesthetic than the other one, because I'm not deeply, I'm affected by the Black girl luxury aesthetic, obviously, as I said. But if I just opted out, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I face more social stigma and social sanctions by not feeding into the other one. Does that make sense? Okay. It's also weird that people want to make this about jealousy. I love my life. I'm incredibly privileged. I'm overwhelmed by deep gratitude every day. But the privileging of people who can buy into elitist and luxury aesthetics benefits me. It does not benefit me to question them. So this luxury conversation is very funny. I think it is my responsibility as a person who lives and moves in the world and who desires to do as little harm as possible to be self-critical. So the very least I can do is take a step back and examine it. But also, and this is the main thing, the way that people weaponize jealousy, particularly against Black women, is so annoying to me. It makes me upset because it is meant to trigger insecurity, right? It's meant to make you question yourself. I don't want to perform confidence or everything is cool or I'm not affected by anything, because I am affected by shit. Even though I feel great about my life, of course I'm affected by shit, right? But I am offering a thoughtful, well-researched, nuanced take on structural inequality. This is a structural analysis. And so for me to have to sit here and be like, well, I'm not jealous, is fucking stupid. It's inane. Talking about jealousy as a personal failure is fucking stupid. And you know who loses? Black women. Because often jealousy is political. Often jealousy is a response to structural inequity. Often when we're talking about envy, we're talking about she gets more access. She gets treated better. Her life is more comfortable and stable. So why don't we take aim at the source, the root, instead of people who recognize this shit is fucked up and who happen to internalize that? Right? I don't think the problem is jealousy. I don't think the problem is envy. I think it's what inspires those feelings and what do you do with those feelings? Let's move on. Finally, I want to say we are not enemies. I'm not worried ever that Black feminism is going to fall out of favor. I've already been doing this a long time. I've seen all kinds of people, bloggers, vloggers, YouTubers come and go, writers come and go. I'm also not worried that the Black feminism that I subscribe to is going to come out of favor, because I see that a lot of Black women's empowerment language comes directly from Black feminist thinkers. It's straight out of Black feminist theory. Remember in the Megan Thee Stallion video that I did months ago where I said Joan Morgan 22 years ago in When Chicken Heads Come Home to Roost, she used the phrase male identified. Where do you hear the phrase male identified? The texts that people are lifting from are 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old, from self-proclaimed Black feminists. And the Black feminist theory and ideology has become so pervasive. It has become so mainstreamed and normalized to how we describe Black women's plight in the United States that people don't even recognize it. People don't even recognize who they're cribbing from, because of the centrality of the work of, the Michelle Wallaces and the Toni Morrisons and the Audre Lordes and the Angela Davises. So we're people who are, the BWE people, the divestment people, the femininity people are unwittingly paying homage. Now, yeah, they're taking some turns. right. They're tapping into it and taking some turns. But I do think we should be real clear about who built the foundation. Okay. So the Black women feminists that I look up to and admire have been talking about violence, have been talking about colorism, have been talking about Black men's bullshit. Let me tell you, when I read Michelle Wallace's Black Macho in the Myth of the Superwoman, a book written in the mid-70s, late 70s, that should change my life. What was Michelle Wallace, who at one point dated Cornel West, by the way, not to be messy. The way that Michelle Wallace was able to articulate Black men's bullshit 40 years ago. Okay. I want to end this by saying I love this job. I appreciate the back and forth, because this does help me get my shit tighter. I am now working on selling a book. I finally decided that I know enough and have a strong enough viewpoint where I would feel really comfortable writing a book now. Been approached by a few different people. And the last person who approached me, I was like, oh, you know what? Now is the time. So all of this stuff is not a waste of time. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the engagement. I appreciate people for even like, showing up to hear me work through this, right? Every challenge, right, helps me to get better. Finally, I want to shout out Catherine Knight Steele for talking about me and the work of For Harriet over the past 11 years a few times in this book called Digital Black Feminism. A friend of mine, screenshotted it and sent me a screenshot, and I appreciate it so much. It means a lot to know that the work and the effort is being recognized. Anyways, that's all I got, you guys. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. The man is coming to freaking put together my bedroom furniture, and he's supposed to come at 2 and I have to go. Okay, that's it, you guys. I've been on here for way longer than I expected to be on here. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the support. Please don't be messy. You also really, I promise you, I've said what I need to say. You really don't need to tag me in hate comments, hate posts, hate videos, hate lipstick alley threads. You really don't. I'm begging you, please don't. Like, if I happen to come across it organically, that's one thing. But when people be tagging me under people's videos, it feels like you're being messy. And I'm just going to have to assume that you're being messy. So don't do that. All right. That's it. Oh God, I gotta go. Okay.